For today, I was just going to look at GBP USD. I'm not going to go to DXY, right? Because if you look at what GBP USD is doing, you can just inverse this to what DXY is doing. So I'm using the futures chart for my analysis for precision, so that we'll know what we're looking at, right? So going to the weekly, we'll see that based on the weekly time frame, the just recent structure, we have been in a range. If you notice, for the past 3 weeks, we have been in a range. If you notice, the past 3 weeks, we have been in one range. Price has not been moving. So if you guys could remember our like two previous commentaries, you see that we still are around this zone, right? So most likely going into quarter two, price will start getting that trending price that we need to get. So, but I always advise you right now, because I do day trading and scalp trading. You don't really need to come down to the weekly. You just need to get an idea. You know that in the weekly we broke structure to the downside. We have taken out multiple levels, so we are bearish, right, on the weekly. However, see what just happened here. This was a short-term level that the weekly closed above. So we might likely be going bullish, but we'll likely be waiting for a retracement on the weekly here to go bullish on GU, right? Or we can just get a continuation downwards to take out all this liquidity point, this low, right? This looks like relative equal lows here. So there are two possibilities, but this is how I trade. I would like to look at it, because you don't always predict what the market is going to do. You react to what the market is showing you. That's how you get quality, high probability trades in the market, right? By reacting. And you being a day trader, you really, 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 really don't have any business looking at this week, because if you look at what the previous 3 weeks gave us, you would think that you could not get trade. But if you go down, you discover as a day trader, there were multiple trades you could have caught and made your profits in this week. So that's what I'm going to show you how you look at it, right? So we go to the daily. Notice that today I didn't really bother looking at the monthly, because we don't really need to go that far. We are not hedge fund traders that take their executions on 4 hours and hold for 1 month or 2 months. So why would you want to be looking at the monthly? You just want to see what price is going to react currently, right? So let's go to daily. Daily will give us an idea of what we are going to be looking at going into this week, right? The probability we're going to be looking at, then we'll see the reactions we're going to take with price. Now, looking at GU on the daily, you see that you see it validates what I told you, that we have been in a range. We have just been in around this zone. We have not gone out of this zone for long. We have just been around here. We have just been accumulating around this place, right? So telling you that we're accumulating orders, there's going to be a major move very soon. So this is going into quarter two. So we should see that move. But looking at GU right now, what you look at GU, you see on the daily, we want to look at just what price action is giving us on the left, the right side of price, right? We don't want to really focus on this side. We want to see this side, because we want to know how we can go in as day traders, right? So we're looking at this range. If you look at here, you see that this is a short-term level that GU just took out. This is a short-term level that GU took out. Why, right? The GU took out liquidity to the offside here, right? You see, price didn't really, there was no displacement to tell that it was broken. So it was a liquidity run. Then price came to close down here, telling us that we are shifting bearish on the daily, right? So shifting bearish, most likely we are looking at this liquidity void here, right? If we draw out all this void here down to here, we're looking at price at least coming either to the consequent encroachment of this zone or the midpoint of this zone, which is right here. We're looking at price coming right here before we can even get any reaction for the bullish move, or coming down here, forming like a little accumulation here, then continuing downwards to continue the bearish move. So these are the likely possibilities we are looking at for daily. But I advise you, however, what you need to do, Looking at the daily time frame, you see that GU is bearish, right? So we want to validate. We'll look, then we'll go to a lower time frame to see the range. Want to get our dealing range in this daily. Now there are two ways. If you go to the YouTube channel, at God of Indices on YouTube, you see I talked about the GOI strategy, what I look for from higher time frame analysis. You can see I can either look at the daily range, the previous candles range to give me where I'm looking for as a scalper or as a day trader. That's the range I'll be looking at. But there's a full details on this is not a strategy. This is just a commentary to give us a higher time frame bias so that we'll know what we are looking at next week, right? So there's a high probability that this week, going into this week also, we are going to be seeing a bearish move. So I'll be aligning with this with the bearishness. However, I'll also wait to see reaction of price because as a good trader, you're flexible to price so that you can change your bias. You just trade with the reaction of price, right? You see that price was rejecting any bullish candle didn't close above this level. You see that rejection of the previous day telling us that we are more inclined to want to go bearish. But also, you see the weak rejection down here too. There's also a possibility that price can continue going upward. So we can never say there's nothing guaranteed. 50-50, right? However, I want to look at or go to the H4 to see where we are in our range, right? I mark the daily range. You see, the daily range is not really giving us something much. However, if we go to H4, if we look at structure, we see that it validates what we're talking about, right? Structure is bearish. All right, after this high place here, we came down, we took out that low. So we see we are bearish on the H4. You see that we didn't close above this zone. It was a liquidity run, and we just had a strong rejection across this zone here. So we are still bearish structure-wise. But looking at our daily range on the daily, if you mark your Fibonacci from this daily range, you want to mark both range. Like uh, I call it our previous dealing range, right? So you want to see what price will do. If you are looking to sell, you want to sell at this top part here. You want to sell at this top part because this is our premium where we'll be looking to sell from. But however, in structure, we are also within the H4 range. This from this low to this low, right? You see. So this tells us that we can get a reaction and get execute and trade based on what price is going to do. But if we open tomorrow, right, and when market opens today, and by tomorrow we see that we we get a displacement with a candle closure above here, most likely we are going to be going bullish, right? So we'll just get a retesting of this zone to continue bullish on the GU, right? So this is what we'll be looking at going into this week to react to, right? So as a scalper or a day trader, you can get possible move. Like personally, I don't trade Monday because I always like Monday to show me the hand of where price is going to go within the week. So I just wait to watch. But you could also, as a scalper, you can get a trade to see the reaction when London opens, where will price be? If we are taking out this high, you know what you are looking for. You're looking for a retracement, or if price rejects and gives you lower time frame confirmations around these zones, you know that you are looking to sell GU because you're selling from premium to come into discount, right? So that's how I look at the market because I always position myself to react to what the market is saying. I don't just hold on to POIs and expect that they will just continue going because if I was going to do that, you see that there's a violation, there's an inversion of a fair value gap here that price rejected off, right? Telling us that most likely we are going to go bullish, but I'm not going to be banking on that. I'm just going to be waiting to see the reaction of price here. If price gives a lower time frame, maybe M15, M5 confirmation around premium, you're looking to sell into discount, maybe back down into this inversion fair value gap, then you can as well buy back up if price gives the reaction that you are looking for in the market space, right? So if you are following, so briefly, this is what I'll be looking for. This is what I'll be looking for today, right? This is what I'll be looking for today, or going into this week on G. So if you just have any question, bro, you can just ask. But I'm not going to be going into DXY because most likely the DXY is going to be an inverse of the analysis we are looking.